Kalimeragi, Kalispera, Kalinichta. No matter where in this wild, wacky, and always wonderful on a Monday world you might be, thank you for making the Highbury Squad part of your day. It's a new week. It's a blank canvas. Let's paint pictures. Let's tell stories. Let's just go, shall we?
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Monday, everybody. Welcome back to Squad Central, especially a huge welcome to my podcast brother from another mother, Mr. Super Kevin Campbell.
Squaddies. Good to see you back at ease. And I'm sure we're going to have a good debate today.
We certainly are, Super
Hostess
Kev.
with the most is going to make sure. At ease.
We certainly are. First things first, as always, at the beginning of the top of the show, always have to ask Super Kev, how was your weekend?
I had a good weekend. I was down in London. I was down in the smoke for a long weekend. It was a long weekend. Started on the Thursday and got back today. So yeah, it was a good weekend. It was a lot. I had to cover a lot of things over the 4 days I was down there. So
Lovely.
You know what? London's my home, but it's good to be home.
Yeah, I feel the same. I love being in London and I love hitting it, and then I love getting out, and that's just how it is. Home isn't necessarily where you were born anymore, but
Where
it's
the heart is now, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Good evening to all the usual suspects. Vesper and Vinny got really excited there hearing Kev's voice as per usual. Ian's in the house, Demsek's in the house. We got Boise, we got Yanni. We've got Suraj, and we got our chief like officer, Tammy. We got PW. Carol's in the house. Now, Stephen, the originator of the terminology or the term squaddies. Are you, Kev? Steve sent us a little note, and he was back in hospital. So we just want to make sure that he's all right.
He's okay. Are you well, Steve?
So let us know. All is good. Amesy, it's been a while since we've seen you. Wow, there's a name from back in the day. Welcome back to Squad Central.
Doing?
Good to see you. We hope all is well in your world. QA Guna is here. Basically, everyone's here. Trev, the whole gang. Right. By the way, Kev, let me just say, Tyrese Campbell's hat trick. Now, listen, he got in trouble on Thursday when he appeared in chat on this show, all right, because Kyle got removed.
Maybe that's what spurred him on.
I think so.
Getting reprimanded by and the squaddies.
I got my cards ready, and I'm I can't give Tyrese a card already. I mean, he's not even been on the show, right? So Kyle got his, blow up.
Obligatory.
His Champions League blow up. So he got removed from the studio a few times.
Good.
Then Ty turns up and is giving it. So then I uninvited him from inviting him on the show. So I revoked his invitation. And then he went on to score a hat trick.
Well, look, just keep revoking him. Yeah, just keep doing it.
I'm going to keep revoking him. But my goodness, wow. I know it's only pre-season, but I wanted to ask you this, Kev, because I saw Gabia Agbon-Lahore was talking about how he hated pre-season because he was partying too much when he showed up for it. I'm sure he said he'd like to see it band all together. You score a lot of goals in pre-season. What does it mean? What does it matter? How important is it?
I think the important part is you get your fitness and you get your confidence. That's what it's about, Soph. Because there ain't many things you can. It's got to. What you've got to try and do is make it translate into the season. That's the key, isn't it? That's what pre-season's for. That's what the games are for. You're a forward or a striker. You want to get on the score sheet as much as you can. You want to do as well as you can. So if you get to score goals, that's good for confidence. Obviously, it's the first pre-season under the new manager as well, although he was there for a part last season. So, again, I mean, what is it? His fifth, sixth manager?
Unbelievable, isn't it?
You know, I said I haven't had that many managers in my whole career, and you've gone through it all it's incredible.
Yeah.
But again, you keep having to impress people every year and stuff. There's a big change. So you use it as much as you want. When you become, I suppose, when you're a veteran player, the onus isn't so much on pre-season. The key is the first game of the season. But when you're coming through and you're trying to make a name for yourself and, you're trying to move up,
Mm-hmm.
you've got to try and be good as many times as you can because it's about consistency. So.
Yeah. I know, because we're so excited, aren't we? We want to see all the new signings. We want to see everyone on the tour. We want to see everyone gelled together. And it's, it came together pretty quickly last season, as we know, Kev, but it doesn't always. I think that's the other thing now, isn't it? The expectation that it's all going to just piece together simply and easily. And it just doesn't always work out that way. But Ty's definitely looking super sharp. So we wish him the best for the coming season. And my mum always keeps an eye on it. As you guys know, she's a Stoke City supporter. I kept that real quiet when, Stoke were in the Premier League, Kev.
Yeah, battling Arsenal all those times. Oh, my God.
This is where the squaddies go a bit crazy. And they're like, how is her mum a Stoke supporter? Her dad,
Man U.
She's a gooner. Oh, it's never boring at Christmas. Right. Good evening to Demi and Ariaga, also in the house as well. Some of our favorites joining in this evening and saying hello. 230 of you in live chat so far. Please do give us a like. And I kept Nana's comment up here because I liked it. Squaddies, sexiest Arsenal podcast. We like that, Kev. We like that a lot.
I like that, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, who's sexier than us two? So come on.
I was going to ask this at the end, but Kev, would you want Kylian Mbappe to be your teammate right now? Just real, I just find it.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, I'd want him to be my teammate. Of course.
Really?
Yeah.
He just seems trouble.
No, listen. Again, don't be fooled by what PSG are coming out with because they're trying to do a deal just as much. They're trying to hang him out to dry. And Kylian Mbappe, the big player that he is putting it back on him. No, I'll stay. No problem. He ain't trouble at all. You never heard anything before. Now all of a sudden he's trouble, Soph. No. It's the club trying to get their own way and they're not getting it. So the club are going to try all sorts.
Yeah,
It'll get resolved. It will.
It does seem like he gets bad PR, and there's fire always somewhere. It has to start somewhere, and there's no doubt. When you're the best player in the world right now, which he is, he's the best player in the world right now. That you have leverage, and I mean PSG, Kev. Can you see a situation where they sell him? This could be one of the ugliest divorces in the history of football.
Sophie, look, the bottom line is this. Probably last summer, it was on to go to Real Madrid.
Mm-hmm.
He stayed. He signed that extra year, didn't he?
Yeah.
Just to make sure he stayed at PSG. They were happy. He was happy. But they only papered the cracks because now you're back to where you were.
Mm-hmm.
The bottom line is, Sophie, they're going to have to cash in. They're going to have to. Because you will be crazy to lose the best player in the world for free.
Crazy.
So don't bleat about it, PSG. Just get on with it. Accept, okay, you signed the next year. We got an extra year out here trying to win the Champions League. It didn't happen. Let's cut our cloth accordingly. That's the bottom line.
I don't know if I'd want him at Arsenal. People may think I'm absolutely crazy. And you know what? It's not the same level. Everyone said Trossard was trouble because of the manner in which he left Brighton. It's always the players' fault generally. Clubs will try and come out looking like, the innocent party here. And you know what? PSG, I think this is a beautiful thing. I would love it. Messi gone. I want Neymar to go, Mbappe go, because maybe, Kev, it wasn't Mbappe that wanted all the sexy players there. He just wanted players there that could fit around him and he could go on and win a Champions League. And in a way, I can't, it moved pretty quickly in chat, but someone said that they failed him. You know how sometimes we talked about Pepe? Did in the beginning, did Arteta fail Pepe or did Pepe fail, Arsenal? How that works. 6 one, half a dozen of the other.
I think
But
failing Mbappe and failing Pepe is a different.
but look, to see my mental, Kev, I've been working on my mental. I put ourselves up there when I'm
You even
talking.
put them in the same sentence.
I was talking about the strategic objective, not the actual talent of the player.
Well, you still got to play, no matter what. You still got to do the business. And up until Declan Rice, obviously Pepe was our biggest signing, but there were flaws in his game, Soph. There were flaws in his game, and it's a lot different when you signed up. If Arsenal were to sign the best player on the planet, what message would that send out to world football?
I don't know. I was ready to send out a massive message if we signed Tchouaméni.
Well, that might still happen, but my thinking of it is, if I asked you this 2 years ago, in a couple of years, and we could sign the best player in the world, would you be happy? I don't think you would have said 2 years ago that you wouldn't be happy. But now we're here. You say I'm not happy because I want the best players at Arsenal, and I'm sure you do too, Sophie. So I'm checking you on that one.
Okay, so it's because of you partly, okay, and also because of this guy and the conversation that I had a few days ago. And by the way, if I can just find it here, Super Kev going live on the channel, not live, but it's going to be on the channel tomorrow, is my conversation with Arsenal Invincible and legend Gilberto Silva.
The Wall Silva.
He sends... you come up in the conversation, and
he's a lovely man, absolute diamond.
As soon as I mentioned your name, his eyes lit up, and he goes, "You tell Super Kev I said hello." It was you know what, Kev? There was no transfer talk. There was no. It was all about ethos and culture, and I hardly asked anything. And I love interviews like that because I don't want to talk. I want to hear what he says, and there's a bit at the end that you are going to absolutely love. It's something you've been saying on this show for 3 years, and let's just say the last minute.
You sure I'm going to like it, or am I going to love it? So
I think you're going to love it, Kev.
Yeah, I'm going to. Listen, I'll tell you this, Soph. Arsenal runs through that man's blood.
Oof.
Without a shadow of a doubt. So it's one of them where I can't wait to hear it because it's the interview is going to be special. I know it is because he's a proper Arsenal man. He may not be from these shores, but he's a fully fledged family member.
Yes,
from another country.
And I felt it. And Kev, you talk about this all the time. We talk about belonging. You know, we're Londoners, but you love your home now. I love living in the United States. I love coming home. I love watching my football. I love going back and forth. You know, this is a Brazilian through and through, but he's a Gooner through and through.
Yep.
Like literally the red side of North London goes through his veins. And I felt differently coming out of that. And I loved talking to someone who played football where I was born and loved it just as much as
passionately.
I did. Yeah. Yeah. It was a very special moment. It was a very special moment. And Siraj, let's just say.
Thank you, Siraj. Thank you. But after today, Siraj, it's not just the players, is it?
No,
after
it's
our
not.
Conversations today.
All right, let's get on with it, shall we? The main subject today, thanks to all 400 of you who've tuned in live so far. Hit that like button for us. Our top 5 talking points, but we do have a main talking point this evening. Super Kev and I did a show about a year and 3-4 months ago, maybe, Kev, maybe longer. No, about that, where we talked about. Look at him, the masked hero right here. Is he? Oh, Demsek, that's a lovely photo, but not that one of Josh, I'm sure. Where we talked about Kroenkes and we talked about the journey of when they started buying up shares, who they sold to, when they sold their shares, when they became full owners of the club, what that trajectory has looked like since. You know, we've gone from these moments, protests, and, you know, quite a very, very difficult time at the club. And there was no doubt there was a lot of visceral reactions to simple things like Josh Kroenke wearing a Rams shirt, Kev, at Arsenal training. How dare he wear a Rams shirt at Arsenal training?
It's all part of their portfolio, so you know.
Yes,
I know what we know what people mean, And they're going to use anything as shade against the Kroenkes because people have been against them. We get it, but it's all right.
Yeah. And then, there was the We Care Do You movement, which I definitely did my video for and got involved in because at the time it really felt like they did not care one iota about the club, about investing in the club, but there was always a secret plan. And in the conversation that Kevin and I had, we were talking about, how much do you invest? How much do you really stick in the pot when you don't own something fully? And, there are a few people that did support the Kroenkes and said that once they do have the whole hog, that you will see a different strategic future for the Arsenal. And Super Kev, it's gotten to a point now where I feel like actually, despite their success in the US, and here is Josh holding the Stanley Cup. This is Josh having just won the NBA. His Shawshank Redemption moment coming out, crawling out of that shit.
Andy Dufresne.
And having faith in this guy, and believing in him wholeheartedly, 100%, never wavering, the same way they did with the coach of the LA Rams, who lost the Super Bowl and lost a few big games along the way until they won the big one. Kev, do we fans... Actually, I'm not going to put myself in this particular category. Do the Arsenal fans owe an apology to Josh and Stan?
I think they do. Just from a sense that was the behaviour previously justified, Soph? Because let's be honest, we were talking about a Super League when Arsenal being involved in the Super League and then the protests, etc. Was that justified? I think it was. I really do. I think it was. I think we agreed the fans have to show that they're not happy about that. We did discuss that when they did take proper ownership of the club, how things are going to go. We're gonna see it's going to unfold in front of us. And over the last couple of years, I think one of the defining moments, which, if you remember rightly, so we discussed the All or Nothing documentary.
Mm-hmm.
And when Mikel Arteta was going through a really tough time, Josh Kroenke sat down with him, didn't he, and said, we got you. Don't worry about that. We believe in you. We got you. I think that was a defining moment. And then we get to last season. We finished second. And you and I, we discussed it in our review, end of season review. Now we're going to find out if Stan and Josh are serious about Arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
And what have we found out, Sophie? We found out these guys are as serious as a heart attack for our football. They really are. Because I never envisioned Arsenal breaking the British record to sign Declan Rice. I never saw it. I never saw them be able to battle and beat Manchester City to a signing of a star player, considering where the clubs are. We know we're a huge club and we're in London, etc. But usually, that's why there was a meltdown in the fan base. When Manchester City went above us and put that bid in, the meltdown was unbelievable. Why? Because Man City all of a sudden flexed their muscles and said, right, it's our time to step in. Everybody thought that was it. Declan Rice would have it. But the work that's gone on in the background, and you've got to take your hat off to, obviously, Mikel Arteta and Edu and all that, Richard Garlick, Vinay, all these guys in the background who have done their work. But it's the people upstairs who make it happen. Mm-hmm. They're the ones who sign the checks. They're the ones who have to rubber stamp the money. And there was a bit of work to do on the length of payment. And we got there in the end. And I'm sure Declan Rice will get announced in the next couple of days because, they've just finished shooting, the mini movie. It's taken about 17 days. So,
is it being directed by Steven Spielberg, Super Kev?
It must be. Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind, this one, I tell you. God.
How long are we going to have to wait?
Surely you know what? But it's worth the wait. It's worth the wait because He is a special player, and he's going to make a difference to our football club. He is.
He's going to be on the plane coming to America. You're coming to America today. More on that later. By the way, who took the egg out of Zaki's omelette? Questions like that will make you lose subscribers. You know,
Why?
it's okay. It's
No,
all right.
no. Zaki, why? Because do you know what? If we can't talk about it now, especially after the money we spent over 200 million in the first chunk of the transfer window, and let's be honest, a lot of that spending power was leveled at the Kroenke'S. Why can't we talk about it? We're adults.
Yeah, I don't work for the Kroenke'S. I'm too busy getting my paycheck from Arsenal, remember? You know, doing my fluff pieces for them. How can I have time to work for the Kroenke'S as well? Raul's upset with me, but he generally is. Apologies for what? Showing care, how costly season ticket is, merchandise, jersey price. Listen, our merchandise is the best on the planet. No one can beat us at that. If there's one thing we win the league at every year, it is merch. We're gold at merch. Yeah. Well, you know, you can't please everybody all the time. I think the Kroenke'S do deserve some respect, Malaysia. Slingshot Dave said, can you imagine if the Super League went? It's going to go ahead at some point. This is all people thinking that football's not moving in a certain direction. Just look at what's happening with you've got Leagues Cup here now. You've got Nations League in the international arena. You've got Club World Cup now expanded into like a mini World Cup for clubs. You've got the Champions League. It's all changing, people. All of it. So, you know, and the Kroenke'S have to go. Are they masterminding the move? We know where that came from, but you can't be left behind either. I mean, at some point, this is going to come back, Kev, is it not?
100%, Soph. And a club like Arsenal, Slingshot Dave said it there. If Spurs are in it and we weren't, it would be catastrophic to Arsenal Football Club. People think it wouldn't be. It would be. It really would be. So, what we've got to do, we've got to try and put ourselves in a position where we're we're a huge club, one of the biggest clubs in the world, but we have to perform like that now because Arsenal are on win now mode.
So here's one of the things I wanted to ask you, because a few folks are talking about how, you know, now we have to go on and we have to win and we have to do all this stuff. Now, that's not on the owners anymore, is it, Kev? Once the season starts and the matches are, you know, whistle goes, the Kroenke'S have nothing to do with it. You can't be sitting here blame everyone. There's a lot of people saying, I'll reserve judgment to see how the season goes. No. Your judgment on how the season goes is going to be for Arteta and the players. Sorry, people.
Well, let's be honest, Soph. What are they reserving judgment on? The Kroenke'S and the ownership and the people behind the scenes can only get it to a point where they give the manager and his staff the best tools to work with, the best players to work with. Mm-hmm. Once it gets to, the 1st of September, that's it. There's not much they could do until maybe January. And we know what that January window is like at times. So they've got to try and work with the management team and the recruitment team to get players out, to bring players in, to make this squad a lot stronger than it was last season to give us the best chance. So giving yourself time, I don't know what you're giving yourself time for.
Yeah. Exactly. Let me read out a few more comments on it. Gets people going. The Kroenke conversation really gets people going. And I wanted to discuss it with Kev today because clearly we're about to have one of maybe the single biggest transfer windows ever. And there was this list here, and I don't know how accurate it is, but it's I wanted to put it up here. Let me get rid of this, Kev. But it takes it by season. And it's by Kieran Maguire, and I'll get you the by the end of the show, guys, where it's actually from. But you can see here by Chelsea, by City, even Newcastle in that 98-99 season, 347 million, Kev. Mm-hmm. That was a lot of money.
Big bread. That's big when bread. They weren't messing around. That's big bread.
We're not on here.
Oh, Sophie, do you know what, Soph? Let's have a. I just want to let's look at some of the teams up there. Could you put that back
Yes,
up? Let's look at some of the
absolutely.
teams that's up.
I'll get
there,
the
Soph.
source as well.
And then I'm going to discuss something with you that we covered in a previous show about Arsenal, right? So, of the last 10 teams or whatever to win the league, they're all on there, or 5 teams, they're all on there.
That's a great point.
Bar Leicester, which was the anomaly.
Yep.
Arsenal are not on there. So
they're not.
Look at and here's the thing, Soph. Look at the years. Let's go. Look at the years. The rolling. Manchester City, 4 years in the spin. Chelsea, 4 years, 3 years. 4 years high spenders, Chelsea. 4 years, Manchester City. You got Newcastle, then Chelsea again. You got Leeds up there. Liverpool, Chelsea, Manchester United a couple of years. Sophie, question is, why aren't Arsenal up there?
So this is why I wanted to do this today, because Gunnar Russ is already getting super excited, saying, oh, what a surprise, we're not on there. But Kev's asking the question, why?
Yeah. The reason why we're not on there was because the narrative that we were told was we were moving to the Emirates to compete. But as you can see, we're not competing. We've discussed this a couple of times, Sophie. We've been playing. It's Arsenal's job and Mikel Arteta's job to play catch up. We're playing catch up with all those clubs who have had years upon years upon years on building those foundations and building their squads and spending big money. We're not even on the list.
Nope.
So what does that tell you? That tells you we got a lot of building to do still. Because
Kev,
what? We would expect it to happen. Yeah, we've spent the money, so it's going to happen, and you're going to hear, remember this, squaddies, you're going to hear opposition fans start to put pressure on us. Oh, you've spent this, so you've got to do this. You've spent that, so you've got to do that. Look at them on there. 4, 5, 6 times they've been high spenders when we haven't even been in the race. So don't let them tell you we've got to do this. We want it. Of course we do. But we still have to build.
Kev, Gunnar Russ says, fact, years and years of time wasted, but not years and years of time wasted, but not money wasted. The club
have the money.
Didn't have the money.
Couldn't
spend it. And also, by the way, you want to talk about smart business. There were many opportunities for Wenger to make smart moves, and he didn't. And ownership always blamed for that. And you go from a juxtaposition of Matthew saying this list makes some feel stupid, and then Newman's question saying these numbers don't matter because the net spend is what matters. What do you say to the net spenders, Super Kev?
Well, what's hold on. Whoa. Net spend. Newman, shut up. Please, net spend. Do you care about net spend, Soph, when you're bringing in quality players?
It's not my money.
So why does people keep giving it this nonsense about net spend? Tell me who on there was net spending really well. They weren't. They were pushing the boat out. Now, if you give these teams who are supposed to be in the big 6 with you, Sophie, all this time to get ahead of you, because all of a sudden you start spending now, what does that mean? You're not catching them up yet, are you? You may be eating into some of the gap, but they've had 5, 6, 7 years of really pumping that spending into their football clubs. That's why they've been successful.
To win, spending to win. And let's be honest, the Kroenkes have proven throwing the kitchen sink at their US teams, which has yielded championship after championship after championship. And they've done it in steps. They've done it in, dare I use the word, processes. And now is it the time of the Arsenal? It does seem that our time is now. And I think it's now, Kev, because everything else has fallen into place. In their eyes, they have the right manager. They have the right hierarchy. They've fixed all of the issues. I think on a commercial level, we're getting better at our business, yielding more dollars on that front. No doubt we're number one at merchandise. I do feel on the commercial side we can improve and do even better. There's no doubt about that. We could build another 70,000 seats and fill that stadium out every Saturday. He said, be excited. And people laughed. And people thought he was an American, douchebag, really. Dad's son.
American talker.
Yeah, who just is part of the family business and doesn't really know what he's doing. Whereas really the Denver Nuggets have won the NBA because of Josh, actually, not because of Stan. There's definitely, the Rams has definitely been Stan's baby. There was also an interesting article, if you missed it, in Sports Illustrated by Jan Wertheim. The most powerful man in sports. You had no idea, did you? And it's on Stan Kroenke, and that was done last year. It's a really interesting article to go read. So yeah, number one on tonight's top 5 talking points has taken a good half hour, but it was an important one, Super Kev, is the owners. And we've come a long, long way from this and from this. And a lot of that obviously has to do with Mikel and with Adu and the type of players we're recruiting. You bring in quality.
Say as well, so can I just say before we move on to like that, I think the We Care movement really proved to the ownership that the fans were bought in. And we demanded that they buy in. Mm-hmm. I think, funny enough, that was the line drawn in the sand, because you remember a lot of people used to talk about, Usmanov we should have had Usmanov in and blah, blah. Look where that would have got us.
Well, yeah, that would have been a whole other mess.
That would have been a whole other mess. But I think from that moment moving forward, because if you remember, that was kind of near the end of that season. And then we done the All or Nothing series, the next pre-season for the season, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when that took off. So, listen, the fans have played their part. Big respect to the Kroenkes right now for putting the money in. The key is everyone's got to do their bit now, Soph. The Kroenkes are doing their bit. Then it's going to be up to Mikel, the staff, and the players to do their bit.
Let me read out a couple others just real quick before we go, because people have definitely gotten excited about this one. Guna Mutley TV says, I wouldn't say they deserve an apology just yet. They have had majority ownership since 2011. That's 11 years for crap and some of our worst time as a club. But one thing I will say, we are looking good for all the reasons Kevin said and explained. I think, just a minute ago answers your question on that one. No apologies yet. They must keep investing. Ruthless, Kev. Ruthless. James Johnson in the house. We hope you're well, JJ. I'm putting my bulletproof on, but Sophie and Kev, it's bad. I'm slightly warming to Josh. I like him. What
not
can I
bad.
say?
It's not bad. It's not bad at all, because you know what? The truth of the matter is, we want to like the owners. Let's be brutally honest. We want to be able to like the owners and be successful.
Mm-hmm.
That's what football clubs do.
Yeah.
You name me a club really where people are against the owners and they're really successful.
I mean,
doesn't really go together.
Kev, I know that for all the wrong reasons, the ownership of Abramovich changed English football. I mean, he has a lot to do. Well, Jack Warner started it really with Blackburn and spending millions
Walker,
on Walker. Sorry, not
he
Warner.
Was, instrumental, wasn't he?
Jack Warner was the head of. He was at FIFA, wasn't he? I'm thinking
Yeah.
of it. Yeah, and so, but the relationship that he had with the fans, aside from the fact that I don't, whatever happened with him happened with him. I'm just talking purely about the relationship between him and the fans. They bloody loved him. They worshipped the ground he walked on, and they've been a mess since he's been gone. And it takes a long time to recover from that. And, for a long time, Kev, Arsenal fans have wanted Arsenal to do it the Abramovich way. Just put your hand in your pocket and buy the players that we want. And look, in the end, what did they owe him? And he forgave them the debt, over 2 billion that he put into that club. So, again, the ownership issue coming up, but you're talking about smart business people who are not willing to put in the millions of dollars until they own the whole pie. They don't want anyone else having a slice of their cherry pie. And I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't either.
And under their stewardship, I suppose, was COVID as well. That played a huge part as well in, because when you not bringing the revenue in, Soph, the other teams, they've already got 6 laps on you to start with.
This is the quote, the soundbite that really annoys people, Kev, is the we didn't. Stan Kroenke saying you didn't invest in Arsenal win trophies. I mean, he said what he said. I mean, it's quoted. It's out there.
Yeah, but you know what, Soph? I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this honestly. Get ready, squaddies. He was taking the absolute piss. Come on. Come on, Gooner Russ. You don't come to Arsenal with our history to turn around and say, "No, I'm investing not to win trophies." Come on. He's pulling somebody's leg.
He's pulling somebody's leg. There's no doubt about that.
Pulling somebody's leg because he's a winner. He wants to win. You could see that.
I mean, Kev, if folks don't think they're born winners or they want to win based on the history of KSE as a business, then I don't know what to say. And for me, I've supported them. I've hated, loathed. I've been angry at them, but after the protests and kind of seeing the support that they gave to the manager when I wasn't, to be honest with you, to give him a new contract after we started 0-0-0, that said a lot. And me as a person who's, of course, worked in industry and business, I have to stop and think, these are the owners, and they're giving this guy an extension based on failure,
remember?
Right?
Novice.
But then I go to the McVay thing with the Rams. They don't see it as failure. They truly saw it, not even as process. They saw it as progress. And so I just don't understand why some people are so stubborn. It's the same thing with the same energy to the people that came at me with Mikel Arteta and my angle with him in the first year and a bit. Same thing to you guys with the Kroenkes. It's my thing here. I don't see how you can be upset with the owners. I just don't. And when you look at seeing what's happened at Chelsea, when you look at how the ownership issue is actually screwing up Manchester United's potential season, Kev, if this doesn't get rectified for them, it's a hot mess. How far behind are they? So,
well, have you noticed? Majority, probably 95% of the top players that's potentially available, United they're not even getting mentioned in the same sentence. That's a big worry. Because United do have a good squad, but they're missing a couple of key spots. But it doesn't seem like they're moving anywhere too quickly. So that's going to be a worry for them. So again, your ownership could hinder you or it could enhance you. And I think the Kroenkes have been... This was a big summer for us to know, are the Kroenkes serious? They're as serious as a heart attack, so they are.
They are. And this is funny, James. I grew up hating Simply Red and Mick Hucknall. But, Kev, things change. They certainly do. I would like Stan to come to a game. Why? Who cares? Who cares if we spent 135 million on Declan Rice? Who cares? Who cares if Stan comes to a game? Who cares? Why? Why can't he be watching it from one of his mansions and still care the same?
Sophie, do you know what I want? I want Arsenal to win the Premier League and then Stan come to the game. That's what I want.
Come after we win it.
So, Tammy, I know what you're saying, but I want that game to be the title win and Stan's at the game.
Yeah, I'd love a chat with Stan. Do you know what? I'd love that, James. Maybe try and get in on that. I'm going to try and get in on a seat next to Stan at SoFi Stadium. We'll make that happen in LA somehow. Maybe we have an inn somewhere. By the way, where's Matty K? Someone check in on Matty K. It's been a while since we've seen him. I have to send him a message. Right, Kev, next up. We'll fire through these a little bit. Actually, no, we won't because there's almost 700 of you in live chat tonight.
We're not firing through anything. This is Monday Madness. We're taking our time today. We're taking
Which, by the way, there's going to be one new version of Monday Madness for next season, and I'll tell you about it at the end of the show. Right, what's next on my list? About assets, Kev. Can we talk about assets, please? I know you love a good conversation about assets, and all the obsession has been about timber and frying rice and Kai Havertz's dogs. But you and I know, by the way, my last point about the Kroenke'S. Tell me if all these deals are happening, Kev, 5 years ago. Real quick.
No chance. Not a chance. Maybe 4 of them would have been sold.
That was my last point, which I forgot to bring that up, kids, not to go back, but it's our show. We can do what we want. There is no way. Saka would have gone to Manchester City. Martinelli probably would have left. Saliba would be gone. I don't even think Odegaard would have been there. I don't know.
4 of them would not be at Arsenal. No chance.
That's the beauty. That's the beauty right there. Mel Malaysian Guna, almost 700 watching and only 200 likes.
Thank you, Mel. Thank you, Mel. Look, guys. Look. By 1 hour, we're going to need 400. Come on.
Come on.
Come on now.
Come on. I mean, come on.
It's not too much to ask.
It's not too much to ask. Just take a sip.
Definitely not too much to ask. Just slot it, hit it. Timber and special fried rice is getting cool this week.
Oh, Kev, we're going to need a gif of a tree being chopped. The timber falling.
Listen, big time.
In the meantime, here's Vince.
Just do a Vinny.
And Vespa wants more action this season, so you know what?
Just tap it over. There you go.
Oh, brilliant stuff. Okay, Kev, assets. We keep talking about how badly we've dealt with selling, but we've never really had assets to capitalize on. We've either let contracts run down, players have gone for free, paid players to leave, as you've been saying for the last year and a half. There seems to be an asset that has some interest coming in from RB Leipzig. Figures being talked about north of 40, which is where you and I had this fella. He was on the plane to the first preseason match, or on the plane to Nuremberg. And it seems like there is interest, but, you know, he's with the squad right now, as most players would be. What's your take, Super Kev, on the Balogun talk?
Yeah, I think Arsenal can afford to play it smart. I think the fact of the matter is he's on the plane with Arsenal, says a lot. And let's have a look at him, because the bottom line is, listen, he should be fit. That's the other thing, Soph. Because he's kept playing all the way through. He played for the States. He's had a few games there, done well. So now he's back in training. He should be fit and raring to go. Nothing could help. Nothing would hurt him getting a couple of goals. So just to start off with and looking sharp, because at the end of the day, that's what we need to see. If he gets a couple of goals, then the clamour for him to stay grows. And he's our player. Again, we let our best players out the building? Or if he's not quite there, then you could maybe move him on and get that buyback. But for me, we have a good look at him and see he might be able to enhance our squad, Soph. He just might.
I'm a huge fan, and there's a lot of comments like Raul's, keep Balogun, sell Eddie. We know Eddie's proven. And I know I say this so loosely when I say he's proven, but he stepped in at a time where we thought the sky was falling last season, and he did his job and he did it really well. Yeah, he petered off. But Kevin, I've always said he's not long-term guy. We've never rated him as the guy to be consistent. You know, he definitely dipped. Are we making a mistake, Kev? Is this one of those, you know, everyone thinks Gnabry was one of those mistakes. I mean, you could always look back and say, you know, what could have been. But in this case, does he deserve to prove himself the way Eddie did before Arteta gave him that contract?
Well, I think it worked. It's timing. I think the way Eddie came through was a lot easier because there wasn't an Eddie in front of Eddie, if that makes sense. There wasn't another young striker there who was a barrier. Fact of the matter is, Eddie's come in. Over the last couple of seasons, he's done all right. He's kept us in the game a lot last season where Jesus was injured. And as you said, we thought the sky was falling. He done his job. We couldn't get over the line as a squad because we weren't as strong as Manchester City. That's just the bottom line. The fact for Balogun is Balogun's done so well on loan that now he comes back and there's a barrier there. There's Eddie there. And a lot of people say, no, get rid of Eddie. But here's the thing. Mikel Arteta knows Eddie has stepped in already. So he's already ahead of Balogun. Whether people want to believe it or not, he is. But we get an opportunity now in pre-season to have a look at, hopefully, a supercharged Balogun.
Mm-hmm.
And if Balogun could cut the mustard and show, whoa, this kid looks dynamite. There's a lot of people talking about, you know, we should sign a striker. Well, if you've got one in the ranks who's a bit dynamite, you don't need to sign one. There he is. He's already there. The key is to convince him, stick with us as a squad because you're going to get your games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, there's something, I hope that obviously he's going to be coming back to the States. He'll be part of the group coming to the US. I mean, I'm assuming, Kev, my mum taught me never to assume anything.
Well, we hope, don't we? We hope.
And in front of the US crowd, he'll definitely get his chance. There's no doubt about that. He's had a massive impact when he was here, treated like a superstar, to be honest. And they're all very excited to have him as part of the US team. They feel like he's the missing piece for that 2026 run when they're playing on home turf as well. He's got so much confidence. I really liked everything about his vibe in that he was ruthless and he seemed like unforgiving. And I like that about him. He had a streak that, you know, he was the man, and I kind of enjoyed that, being around his vibe and stuff. All right, Balogun, if he's gonna go, Kev, he cannot go for less than 40. We're in agreement on that, right?
Yeah.
Something make you chuckle there, Kev? Did you see something that made you chuckle?
No. Just when you mentioned 40, I was like, well, you know, listen, 40. I'd like a bit more, but listen, I think 40 is the minimum. But I would like a buyback just in case, just to protect the club.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, I have another one for you, Kev. A couple of really interesting ones. For me, this one especially is the feel-good story of the weekend. A player that has really suffered this last season, regardless of the fact that over the previous two along his Haylander mate kind of saved us and gave us something to hope for. When things were dark, when Oba went crazy, when Laka stopped scoring, when Pepe went wild, it was Saka and Emile Smith-Rowe that were keeping us happy as Gunners. And Emile, part of the under-21 team that won the Euros at the weekend. What an experience for him, Super Kev. He's looking lean. He's looking fit. He's looking happy. He's talked about his injury, having the surgery, maybe removing the problem that has been niggling at him for the last couple of years. You talked about it last Monday when I asked you, but now he's a winner. What are you thinking for Emile Smith-Rowe this coming season?
I'm thinking Emile Smith-Rowe, he's super fit now. Get yourself on tour with the boys. Don't worry about no holidays yet. I'm sure you can always have some time off during the season. The manager could whip you and go on, off you go. Get yourself away for 7 days and break it down like that. But just where he is now, I just think he's been a star with the under-21s. My old teammate Lee Carsley's the manager, and I think he used everybody really well. He played them in some games. He made them come off the bench in some games, and just got the best out of them. And ESR. So to win with England at any level is great. So well done to ESR, but he's fit now. So this is where he can make a real impact, I think, as opposed to going on holiday for 4 weeks. Then you come back and then you've got to get back into the swing of things. I just think everybody might have kicked on from there.
Kev, you bring up a really good point, because it's not like he played a lot of football last season. So considering the injury that he's had, and now his body's warm again, right? And it's in a rhythm and it's in a groove. For a player like Emile Smith-Rowe, is it best that he just like continues and carries on versus sits and goes off on holiday for 2 weeks?
100%. 100% Soph, because, listen, he spent a lot of time away from football. A lot of time not playing. A lot of time probably reflecting on the injury. And obviously, you know, he struggled for form last season. Didn't play a lot of football. Now he's fit. He's playing football. He's a winner. Now's the time you come back and you show people what you're about. Now's the time to show how good a player you are.
Yeah. You know, because Matt Turner didn't play a lot last year, and he stayed to play in the Gold Cup with the US team.
And with Mikel Arteta's blessing. Because it's games for him is competition for him. So important.
Yeah, and I love that. I really did. And because when I spoke to Matt as well, you know, he felt that, you know, again, after a year being under Mikel Arteta, a year being at Arsenal, playing with the players he's playing, he started to feel that he deserved the opportunity to start. So they've all got that hunger in them. There's no doubt that's happening behind the scenes. When you talk to players on the ground, you feel that and you hear that. And you hear it more when they're on international duty, Kev. Less so much when they're around the club. But when they come away with their country, they talk to the local media about stuff. They let go a little bit. So, yeah, excited to see Emile Smith-Rowe. And, you know, he was a super sub for us. He can be a super sub again, but definitely part of the picture. And what a wonderful message led by our captain, Martin Odegaard, before the final, Kev. I thought that was a really nice touch.
Yeah, good touch. That was a great touch. And I'm sure Emile would have felt really good about that, receiving that. And, you know, to go and win it, Sophie, like I say, to win anything at international level is so hard. You know, so fair play to Lee Carsley and ESR and all the boys. Well done.
Kev, I was happy beating Tony at darts the other night. I can't even imagine what it's like to, you know, I've worn a gold medal around my neck. It was my friends who won it at the Olympics, but my goodness, to actually win
the light gold medal.
It's so heavy.
Heavy, you won't believe.
It is so heavy. My friends is the coach at the US women's volleyball team who won gold, and I tell you, it's heavy. Oh, it's nice. To win that, to win anything.
To be a winner.
That's
what, remember, we discussed that about Arsenal. We need to be winners, and we need to get back to that mentality, and we're getting there. And it's a win now mode. And what we want silverware, and we want to be able to get this squad in their head that we can do it, we will do it.
You know what's interesting too, Kev, is when I spoke to Gilberto Silva, it's you guys are going to really, I mean, when you hear a winner talking, you guys hear Kev talking about winning. When someone knows and has won, it's a totally different conversation. I mean, and the distinction as well between what's acceptable and isn't. That's the difference. And what was acceptable last season to Mikel Arteta, Kev, isn't going to be acceptable this season.
Because we're looking to go above that level now. So you've got to be nearly perfect against this Man City. But they know now, and they know they could look at where they faltered. And like we said last Monday, any good manager goes and looks at the games and goes, we've got to get better there, we've got to get better there, and we've got to get deeper. So we went out and done the business.
Yeah.
Made 3 signings. And because you know what, Sophie? Here's the funny thing. When Zinchenko wasn't there, we didn't have anybody to really do that joining in midfield. Now we got Timber. So not only could we do it from the left, we can do it from the right now. So that straight away opens up a whole different problem for the opposition.
Thanks to Gunner Balls for letting us use his art, and always a pleasure.
Great picture.
Yeah, Timber, and this one is he's already done Rice as well. Super Kev.
Love that.
Already done Rice, and yeah, Timber, and also we forget too that we have Kivior. And by the way, Super Kev, my 5th talking point. We've done the Kroenkes, we've done Balogun, we've done Emile Smith Rowe, we've done sales. Kind of. I wanted to talk to you about outgoings and sales. But I saw a picture today, and I also saw a few Arsenal fans like writing this guy off, that he doesn't really have a skill set, and what's the point? And he's always injured. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He looks absolutely bloody amazing, does Tomiyasu. What happened to him?
Listen, he's had time to work. He's had injury. We know he finished this season, and he's probably just been getting his body right, Soph, getting everything right to come back and make a statement. Because I think I mentioned it. He's our box spanner, Soph. He's our multi-gadget guy who can go in anywhere across that back 4 or back 5 and fill a gap. He can. We saw him go from left back and do the moving into midfield. And he done it seamlessly. So, yeah, he's had injuries, etc. But do you know what? You name me a player who doesn't have injuries. You know, there ain't many. So we need Tomiyasu fit all season, because when the going gets tough, sometimes we need to send for Tomiyasu to shut people down.
So there's another part of the conversation that we had with Silva, and this is like Kev. He adds, we need muscle. We have this conversation about intimidation, and there was a lack of physicality a little bit. You know, even I love Zinchenko, and what he's provided to the team and the way Arteta wants to play is incredible. There were a couple of games where you need a little bit more physicality. The way Tomiyasu came in and bullied Salah in that Liverpool game, right? What he offers on the left, the right, and he can play left centre back as well. I'm so blown away by how he looks like he's dropped 10 pounds. He looks unbelievable.
Lean, mean, fighting machine. That's what we need. And you know what, Soph? One thing we can't do is just be good football inside. We've got to be able to mix it up and tough it out and outfight teams physically. That's going to be really important, because teams know now. You remember Newcastle at home, where they came and made life physical and difficult, and you know, they made it scrappy. Those are the ones you got to win 1 or 2-0 and say thank you very much, see you later. So everybody has to be on it. Everyone.
And this is the problem, Rowe. Guy gave assist to KDB last season. Have you ever made a mistake at work? Huh? Never sent an email and been like,
give an assist to KDB, so what? So what if he did? So what if he did? Yeah, everyone made mistakes last season.
Everyone made mistakes. Everyone. Yeah. Saka made a mistake. Martinelli made a mistake. Ramsdale made mistakes. Everyone made mistakes. Jesus made mistakes. Odegaard made mistakes.
Everyone. You're not going to be able to stop the mistakes. The key is how do you come back from them? And now we get a chance to go at Man City this season
Yeah.
To be the king, you got to take him out. That's what we got to do.
You got to checkmate. It's not going to be easy. 710 in live chat right now. How many likes do we have? Chief Flight Officer Tammy Steels, please report to us, because I'm going to have you guys send questions to Kev, but only if there's half the likes of the audience. So we're going to take a sip and wait. Kev's going away. He won't be here next Monday. So let me tell you, you're going to make it count. Let's see.
Whoa.
321.
Who won't be here next Monday? Whoa.
I thought you were away. I thought you were on a
the Monday after.
Right, so Kev is here next Monday.
But I might not be if they don't get 400 what I wanted, I tell you.
321 right now. By the way, the show next Monday will be coming at you live from Washington, D.C. That's right, capital of the United States of America. Because the Arsenal Football Club will start their journey for their tour in America. That's right, the Arsenal coming to the United States. And their first game, I think it's the MLS All-Star game first. Yeah, and then it's New York. We will be going to Washington, D.C. and got my accreditation yesterday or the day before, Super Kev.
Nice. So, hope it's a nice picture.
I wish I could redo all my pictures when I have a tan.
Well, what you got to do is you got to take a load of pictures now, so when you go for the accreditation, you can send it.
What am I telling Porkies about? I'm not telling What am I telling Porkies about? I love it when you guys make statements and you don't back it up with anything. Right. Let's see what we got. 349, and we got 700 people, Kev.
Come on, Sophie. We got more than 700, and that's not enough.
It's not.
That's right. Do you know what? They shouldn't be missing us that much. They should be hitting the like button. Come on.
I know. I might just want to talk about the Wham documentary I saw last night. Kev, can't beat George Michael, man. Come on.
George, brilliant.
Did you ever meet George back in the day? You did, right?
Yeah, of course,
yeah.
Remember, I tell you, I met him a few times in Stringfellas.
The first time I ever went to Stringfellas, I thought I was in heaven.
Hey, so did I.
I bet you did, Kev.
The very first time I went there, my goodness. The lads, Tony Adams and Rocky and all that took me there after a end of season do.
Man, what a place. First time you go, I mean, yeah, you guys had some good times. Absolutely.
You can say that again.
You know what? It's just our youth. Ugh, the 20s, 30s. 20s, the decade of decadence. The 30s, the decade of discovery. And then the 40s, Kev, are the decade of do.
It's the new you. 40s are the new you see. Because they say life begins at 40. So it's the new you. So everything you've learned up to 40, you're now supposed to propel yourself forward into whatever you do as a new person.
Yeah. I mean, looking back, I thought I knew everything in my 20s. I was so naive. And my 30s, I was like, what? No one, people tell you about stuff, but what? And then your 40s, you're like, wow, I'm really comfortable with who I am. This is working out all right, Crazy stuff. Okay.
How many?
Fine. Give me the last count. Just join the chat. And the first words I heard was Stringfellows. I'm all ears.
Well, you might have to. That's usually an after dinner thing. I explain what went on.
As Simon says, Stringfellows was the edge of heaven.
Oh,
nice one there for the George Michael pun. Pretty Sophie, Super Kev, I'm enjoying this channel. We like that you're enjoying the channel. Thank you so much for finding us. Okay, fine. How many?
Going to Russ. Come on. Tammy.
Short-sightedness starts as I hit 43. Wait till you hit 60. And we got some seasoned folks who listen to the show, and we like that. We like the young, we like the new, we like the old. All right, we're at 375.
Can I just say something about that, Soph?
Yeah.
Just remember this, everybody. Just remember this. And even you, Newman, right? Even to you, never lose the fact that it is such a blessing to open your eyes and breathe every morning. It is such a blessing, let me tell you, because there are so many people who would swap with us in a heartbeat just to be able to get up, to be on this podcast, to go for a walk, just to live. So, believe me, no matter what age you are, if your eyes are opening and you could get up and you could get about, believe me, treat it as a blessing and go and enjoy your day.
Love that, Super Kev. Absolutely love it. Now you may send questions. We've got 23 likes to go. So if you start sending them and we get to the target, then I'll start asking them. Very true words indeed, Amesy. And come on. 21 more. Super Kev, one of the best hat tricks I've seen for Forest away at Coventry.
Bobby, I agree with you. That was and the celebrations weren't bad either.
By the way, Yanto has been a Gooner since 1967. You're going to have to come on one of our trip down memory lane shows. Right, knuckleheads, what we got here? That Wham documentary was excellent. Listen, as a Greek Cypriot, let me tell you something. The best export ever to come out of Cyprus other than potatoes is George Michael. He is our shining star. You know, Baghdadis, I thought, he's going to win a major, maybe Baghdadis. My mate Anna Vissi, great singer, so talented. She's the queen of music. George Michael put Cyprus on the map. Big time. His mum and dad used to be so generous, Kev. There used to be a dinner and dance, an annual dinner and dance that a Greek Association of Cancer organized, and his mum and dad would always buy a table. And it was always amazing because our table would be right next to George Michael's mum and dad's table, and his sisters always used to go. And then there'd be an auction after, and everyone used to wait because they'd know George Michael's parents were going to bring awesome shit to the auction. And yeah, I mean, a serious subject, but it was always covered with, you know, a lot of joy. And it was sad because, you know, of course, you know, one year that his mum wasn't there because she succumbed to cancer as well. So amazing family. You've done amazing things. And as a Greek person, just, you know, wonderful.
Proud, and it makes
just
you
wonderful.
Proud.
Really, really, honestly, totally. All right. So you give you a little bit in between the in-between stuff.
Oh, hold on. What's the number? Ross, Tammy, what's the number?
Way too much maths. Way too much maths. Also, Suraj is asking, what is a Stringfellows? Which I loved. That's my favorite question today. What is a Stringfellows? Amazing.
It was a nightclub.
It was a nightclub.
It was an establishment of the night.
It was of the night. 389.
389.
Yeah.
11 before the end. Come on, let's do it.
Yeah. Still not going to ask. You have to get the number. It's not happening. This is what we're doing on this show. I could talk about another Greek dinner and dance or just speed it up, people. You choose. You choose. I could talk about Ayanapa. Woo! Great time.
Now, I tell you what, there's about 18 string fellas there.
Oh, and then some.
Whoa!
What a place, huh?
Yeah, brilliant. But you know what? I like Cyprus full stop anyway. I think the whole island is such a special place. Beautiful people. And do you know what? With my Greek Cypriot mates, I remember going over and we were staying in a little town called Aradipu.
Aradipu, yeah.
Yeah,
Aww.
Which is, I think it's pigs. They do pig farming there and stuff. And we went at night, we went into Ayanaba. But like during the day and a couple of nights, we just went local with the locals and ate where the locals ate. And it was
Can't beat it.
Absolutely incredible. Honestly.
Kev, next time, we're going to take you to Cyprus. We're going to go eat at Meliges. Your best souvlaki you ever have. Amazing. All right, we got 3 more. 3 more.
Come on, 3 more.
Well, I'm helpless here. I like the stream ages ago.
10 minutes ago. It will keep, Dublin Gouda. It will keep.
It
Your
will
question
keep.
will
It will
keep.
keep. Gosta Yasu, my grandparents were from Aradipo. Oh, I love that. When I was there in 1972. Yeah. We left in my parents were planning on going back actually in the 70s and didn't. So look at them. They're desperate. One more. Bosh. Fire them up, people. Send them in.
Fire that grill up. Some luck you around.
Get cooking like I do. Fire up the grill. All right, here we go. Stephen Day. Do you feel having 3 versatile attackers holds us back, or would we be better with an old school forward like Kane? If so, who could we realistically get in that mold?
The one in that mould you could talk about is Vlahovic. I know Chelsea are trying to sign him, but we've been in for him for a bit. If you're going to try and get that out-and-out striker, but again, I think that doesn't make us as fluid as we are now. I think having players where we share the goals around makes us a much more dangerous outfit than having that one striker, if I'm honest with you. And you know what? It wasn't actually the top end of the pitch why we didn't win the league. It was the midfield and defence, I think, where we lost momentum and players. I felt that's where we kind of lost it. But I think the goals, you can't look at the forwards. Look at the goals they scored. I thought we done really well. I know we can score more. And that's why I think Havertz has been brought in, if I'm honest with you. I think he's looking at getting double figures from him. Getting Jesus probably without an injury. I mean, if Jesus wasn't injured, I think he would have got near to 18, 20 goals. Mm-hmm. That could make a huge difference for us as a football club. So,
Kev, it's a really good point, because I think it's very easy to say, you know, when Haaland comes in and scores 552 goals and Kane's a goal machine, but we've always said we've been so reliant on an Aubameyang and then desperately hoping Lacazette would turn into a goal scorer and never did. And then you get in goals from Saka, Martinelli, Odegaard, even Xhaka was scoring goals this season. Is it kind of a fallacy, this idea that we need? Is it more of we need like a Vlahovic type, a more of a target man?
It's historical, Soph. It's historical because teams like to have that guy, don't they? Especially you look at who the guys have been at Arsenal, and you look around the league, and Manchester City, after finally went and got Haaland. But don't forget this, people. Manchester City were winning leagues before Haaland got there without a striker. So it can be done without that main striker. They got Haaland because they were messing up in the Champions League.
But also, Kev, they did not win the Champions League because they couldn't score goals. They did not win the Champions League because their manager got a little trigger happy with the squad.
He got maybe a bit too clever, didn't he?
Too clever,
Sophie?
Yeah.
Against Chelsea, not having a holding midfield played right into Chelsea's hands. So why he done it that way? Obviously, he saw something there that maybe he could exploit, and it didn't quite work out. For me, I still think Arsenal scoring goals by committee is the best thing for Arsenal as a team.
I agree with you. I think it's a great point. I
really do. But if you have a player who you can bring on or you can change. I mean, for instance, Kai Havertz is not a number 9. He's not. No. He's but if need be, could we play him up there? Yeah, we could. Do you understand what I mean? If we needed to change it and put somebody who could head it up there, we could do that with Havertz.
Yeah.
So if we're going to go for a Vlahovic or, let's say, Ivan Toney, for instance, they're not going to be happy sitting on the bench.
No, but we also have to our team needs to figure out a way of being happy on the bench, because it's going to be different, Kev, this season. We're
a squad now.
Right.
It's not a team, it's a squad.
Right, correct.
So you get picked on merit. Last season, we went at it with virtually 11 to 13 players. Probably 14 max. We need 18, 19 players. So we can rotate, we could move players in and out and not drop level. That's the key.
Right. So Gosta from Aradipo, I hope that answers your question too, of the big number 9. I don't think it's long. I actually think it's coming back. I think like the likes of Kane, Kev, Haaland, I don't think there was a time where this number 9 role, I think maybe 2 years ago, 3, 4, with Pep, the way he was tinkering with the false 9 and teams were looking at it differently. But, Lewandowski, Kane, Haaland, Vlahovic, you could even say, Man United are looking for they're desperate for a number 9 right now, aren't they? So let's see. Christopher, if Postecoglou wins Spurs, oh God. No, not answering. I really want to dislike him so much, and I have to take my Greek hat off because I've liked him for a long time and admired his achievements. And I have to say that right now, I'm really training my brain. I'm not a hater, so it's hard for me. But maybe you guys
will dislike him twice a year.
Yes, let's do that. Yes. And absolutely, it's cooking. Show him, Kev. They've all been asking. Could this be love? Boop, boop.
Iron, like a lion in Zion.
That's right. Absolutely. Let's get to another question here. Out of Eddie and Ballo, who would you keep? Kevin Soph, please answer. I would keep Balogun.
I think you can keep them both. They're both signed to the club. It doesn't matter. Don't have to choose. But if there's one who's going to be sold, I think Balogun's going to be sold.
That wasn't the question. But I'll let it. See, Vinny's saying that's not the question.
No, but that is the question. You know why? Because you talk about who we're going to keep. So if I talk about the one who's going to be sold, then the one who's going to keep is not sold. That's Eddie. Eddie will stay. Because I think we'll get more money for Balogun.
Okay, cool. Sorry. There's
No, you see, they're not happy with that, are they? All right, Eddie's staying. All right.
One of their friends.
Balogun's staying. Let's get quiet.
Friends is coming.
They're quiet now. Look.
Okay. Abdul Gaffer wants to know, I'm still worried about our midfield. Need one more quality with Partey, 2 without Partey. What do you think, Big Kev? It's a good.
No, I still think if Partey goes, we need 1. Still think that there's room for 1 more with Partey. If Partey goes, getting 2 is going to be hard. Getting 2 is going to be hard. So we definitely need 1. And that's where Jorginho has a massive part to play. Really does have a massive part to play because everybody's got to be able to gel in that midfield. So, yeah. I think it's him. Do you know what? I'd rather keep Partey, if I'm honest.
Kev, there's something I had to put everyone on mute there. Crikey, Vinny and Vesper went on the attack big time. Listen, they're ready to play up front. Kev, there's something about the continuity and the kind of concern of losing Xhaka and Partey in the same season. I as talented as these players are who are coming in, we don't know. But yeah, for continuity, I mean, I don't think people would be adverse to seeing a Partey Rice midfield, would they, Kev? Partey?
No, I don't think so. I think there's certain games in the Champions League where you could have the double pivot there, away from home, protect, and you could break from there. I think is good, really good.
Yeah.
But it's fair for people to worry about losing two of your midfield who, got you to second in the league last season and back in the Champions League. If you lose two of them, and the new players coming in, Declan Rice, we know he's good. Havertz, how it's going to work, and you're losing a bit of that continuity in there. So it's the unknown, isn't it? If two new players come in, it's the unknown. Will we be as good as we were last season? Who knows? So we might be better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that losing Xhaka, it's leadership, right? I'm not sure Partey's the same type of leader as Xhaka, but definitely I think we need to proceed with caution as we change. Change is good, but you also need continuity as well. Vivian says, how many more players do you think we need? From the 8 that you said, Kev, what are you thinking? Where are you at right now, numbers-wise?
Well, obviously there needs to be outgoings, that's for sure. I still think if it was up to me right now, I still think we need 3 more players this window.
Positions?
And, maybe two in midfield and 1 forward. A forward.
Do you say, okay, so when you say forward...
anywhere across the front.
Okay. In particular, Saka maybe? Or are we happy Reece can cover there now?
Whatever, because Reece can play both sides.
Yeah.
Getting a striker who can... Getting a player who can play striker and wide would help as well. Because then you can really rotate. Wouldn't be bad if he was of a decent size as well. Because then you can... At times, you can play somebody through the middle who you can hit with a longer ball.
Yes, indeed.
I'm not even reading that.
No, I don't know how it came up, actually. Let's just get rid of it, shall we? Okay, let's get another one for KC. From Clock Orange. Do you think our squad is good enough to compete with City?
Nope, not yet. We're better, but not yet. We really do need to add.
Cool. We'll fire through some of these too. Demsek wants to know what our option B is from the Tiki Taka or Tiki Taki. Kev, plan B. We talked about that a bit last season. I think towards the end of the season, middle to the end, I think even Arteta evolved and grew into his role even more so as a manager. Do we have a plan B, Kev, with all the versatility in players now, multiple positions?
But that's what you have a bench for. That's what the bench is for. People think this plan B is that all of a sudden you get a 6'7" striker and you start hitting it. No, that is the plan B. Plan B is you get different players on the pitch who can create different things.
Right.
That's a plan B. And I remember some of you came at me against Everton after I was saying, taking Thomas Partey.
Sorry?
Taking Thomas Partey off and Jorginho coming on isn't a plan B, I remember. Right? But this is what your squads do. You have to be able to utilize your bench to try and bring a different impetus to the game. Now, somebody who's a runner, like a Martinelli, if you take him off, bringing a Trossard on, for instance, is your plan B, because Trossard isn't a runner, but he's a different type of player and he offers something different to the team. That's a plan B. Not always, like I said, hitting long balls and doing something different isn't always a plan B. So
right. Okay, here we go.
Thursday, Newman, Thursday.
I like this one from Vic because, I love how we buy a player and like I asked you and Tom last week, right? All of a sudden, Timber comes in, Benjamin White, surplus to requirements, or on the bench. Yeah. Kai Havertz comes in, and what does that mean for X, Y, and Z? Is he considering playing a different style next season, Kev? Or do you think we'll be pretty much the same? Is he just going to build on what he's established?
No, I think what he's done is he's proven that his style works, his system works. maybe in some games, Sophie, where he did go to, remember at Liverpool, where he went free at the back to try and shore things up, having a better level of player in that system might just have kept us ahead to win the game. And he may only have to do it once or twice, but to be able to shift and alter the team and everybody be comfortable, that's something that may just get us over the line.
Yep. All right. Let's get this one from Simon. Bless you. Super Kev, which attainable player would you like us to get from another Premier League team?
Attainable. I'm not sure.
Attainable. You mean, so for example, Leicester are no longer a Premier League side, but I'm not sure there's anyone on Leicester I want.
Let's put it this way. A player who I think we could do with, who could potentially be attainable, right, is Caicedo. Mark's on it. Is Caicedo. I think he makes us better. But the auction's going to go crazy.
Yeah.
And that's going to go to 80-odd million. And I think if Arsenal say, right, if we're going to go 80-odd million, we might as well go for Tchouaméni.
Yeah.
We might as well, because he's got the pedigree. Not saying Caicedo's a wonderful player, but Tchouaméni, he's a baller. Who automatically makes us better. Automatically. So, if we're going to do 85 million on Caicedo, we might as well go an extra 15 million to get somebody who sits in the hub of that France midfield, World Cup final player, top player, Real Madrid, all that. Why not just go and spend the money and get him?
I agree. If you're going to go the whole hog, go the whole hog. And there's a lot of questions about Tchouaméni for you, Kev. Kev doesn't, he's not his agent, so he can't give you specifics. But, you know.
A lot depends on across the English channel.
It's all on. Listen, Mbappe is the domino.
A lot depends on that.
If Mbappe goes to Real Madrid, choo-choo train, woo, woo, choo. Get ready, Gooners. It's on like Donkey Kong. Actually, that's Pac-Man. Sorry, my mistake. Kev, a couple more? How about a couple more? You're being called an ITK now, Kev.
Well, listen, it is what it is at the end of the day. It is what it is at the end of the day. And that big domino in France is a huge, huge piece.
It is.
And it really does. It makes moves in moves.
There's already one big domino that left France. Oh, but by the way, Kev, I got the official invitation. They're calling it, here's an exclusive for all of you guys, the unveil. So you know how LeBron was the decision? Yeah. So Messi's press conference is the unveil. Yeah, big time.
Listen, fantastic. Fantastic for the MLS. Brilliant.
It's amazing. Yeah. So, I mean, I hope there's a sneaky kind of he appears at the game so Arsenal fans can see him. That would just be amazing. Rumor is he will not. But I don't know. I think they'll keep it quiet, just like halftime. And here's Messi. Woo! Waving to everyone. Lovely. How about one more question, Kev, and then we'll call it quits. What do you think? There's so many. Here we go. Is it possible that Ben White may feature as a defensive midfielder, seeing that Timber is highly... Okay, I'll remove that one. Get you another one. Get you another one. Oh, I like this one. Where's the one where someone was asking about standing room? Kev, what do you think about bringing standing at the Emirates?
I would love it. I would absolutely love it. I think it would really enhance the atmosphere at the ground. And we've seen it happen in Champions League as well, haven't there? You know, like Dortmund, etc., where the seats can be made into standing. I think it would really add. The atmosphere at the Emirates has been superb, but adding standing, I think most of the guys stand anyway. But but having the standing part would actually enhance the Emirates even more so. So I'm all for that.
Yeah. You know what's really funny is that there are some old fogies, Kev. There's a lot of young'uns and they love to just stand the whole time, and everyone behind them, they're like, will you sit? So many arguments about sitting and standing. It's actually quite classic. So
the guys who want to sit down could sit over the other side. But there should be. I mean, look, it's safe now. Safe standing. It's safe. So clubs should be able to get that back.
If we can't sort that out in today's world, when we're creating artificial intelligence and all sorts, which, by the way, AI cannot sharpen your pencil. I actually sharpened a pencil today, Kev. I can't remember the last time I did that. Physical.
Hold on.
Oh.
Remember that one at school? Do you remember the one stuck to the desk?
That's stuck to the desk. And it was always like this, Miss, can I go sharpen my pencil?
It always broke it, didn't it? Always broke the lead.
Oh, the lead. Listen, it's an epic hour and a half. But here's the good news. Next season, one Monday a month. I was going to do it every week, but I was like, no, I can't. I've got too much on. One Monday Madness every month will actually be a radio show. So it will be 2 hours and it will be radio style, and it will be myself and Super Kev, and we will have a guest on, but not like for the whole thing. It will be done like a radio show. They come in for 10 or 12 minutes. We go off, we talk about something else. Someone else pops in. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll even have some bed music and all types of shit. Get excited. Be excited, because it's going to be epic. And it is going to be the Monday Madness radio show, and it is going to be once a month. And you ain't going to want to miss it. You're going to want to be excited. Look at that. Tell him, Josh. Isn't that great, Kev? Isn't that exciting?
Hey, listen. It's great. First I'm hearing of it, so it's brilliant.
I break
with
news.
You squaddies, I'm like, all right, no problem. I'm in.
I break news to Kev live on air. Kev, what else do you want the troops to know in these times before we leave? 650 now in live chat. Seems I never like to leave them, Kev, but
Listen, I think we've done enough for this lot tonight.
I'm tired.
Because and to be fair, they've responded. Thank you so much for responding to us. We went a little bit longer just to make it a little special for you guys, and because we do miss you, I must say, we do miss you. What I can't wait for the Timber and Declan Rice to be announced properly, officially, and see the videos. Declan Rice has got to be a mini movie.
I mean, what movie is this going to be? If you had to bet on it, is he going to be cooking rice? That would be cheesy. I wouldn't want that. Don't want him cooking rice.
No, he does a rendition of Rice Baby, doesn't he?
Well, I do like that he did. That was so cute and adorable.
But listen, the bottom line is, get him in that Arsenal. Get him with that cannon on his chest.
Can't wait.
I don't care about the singing. I don't care about the dancing. Get playing, son, and helping us win. Look, that's the key.
It's the salute, Kev. It's the Highbury Squad salute.
He's already on it. I love that. He's already on it. Already on it. Just got the wrong kit on. There you go.
Stop, collaborate, and listen. Declan Rice is here on a mission. He's going to win Arteta something. Anyway, I'll come up with a rap. Go on, Kev.
No, I'm done. That was it. Just, just like anything. Is this the end of it, or
it is the end? I'm gonna build it up. I'm gonna build it up a little bit. I'm gonna do that.
I'll build it then.
I'll build it. Okay, kids, and yes, lots of questions already. It's all about you, isn't it? Of course it is, squaddies. Yes, you will be able to phone in on the radio show next season. It wouldn't be the same without you, now would it?
I tell you what, so can Newman send his art into the radio show?
Still haven't.
Have some of that, Numan.
Still haven't shown that art from the end of last season. He tried to get to Judges and Potsy. He went rogue. You know.
Nobody wants to go around me for. Yeah, who does he think he is?
I mean, yeah. It's not going to happen ever. And you can just, I wonder if when he goes to sleep at night, Kev, how some people count sheep. I wonder if he counts Highbury Squad coins.
Maybe so, but he didn't get one off me.
Didn't get one off me. He's probably asked Gunnar Russ for his.
And Soph, if I remember rightly, Newman's one of those who was complaining about the Kroenkes. I'm sure he was.
Complains about everything.
No, I'm sure he was complaining. What does he? There's one for you then, Newman. Let me ask you a question, Newman. How do you feel about the transfer window so far? Spending over 200 million on 3 players. How do you feel about that? Does that go against the Kroenkes? Because he's been very quiet, so.
He has. Bit of this needed. Bit of this.
Woof! Take his head off, so. Woof! Off with his head. I broke his neck first.
All right, guys, that's all we got time for today. Thank you, Super Kev, as always. Thank you guys, as always, from all corners of this grand earth joining us. We'll be doing the live Monday show. Then I will be going to the nation's capital, as I said. We'll be seeing Arsenal next week. We'll be covering lots of stuff, bringing you lots of content from the All-Star game. And then that continues in LA the week after with the Soccer Champions Tour as well. So lots of good and exciting stuff happening around that. Look out for the Gilberto Silva interview that we'll post tomorrow as well. And we'll let this Monday Madness show marinate for the rest of the week. Keep your eyes out on the community page and Twitter and Threads. Oh, Kev, we haven't talked about Threads. Another night.
I've got enough
Super
threads. I've got enough threads. Trust me.
Super Kev, it's over to you.
All right. Well, look, squaddies, we've heard nothing from Newman, I see. So make sure you look after yourself. Make sure you count your blessings. Love the people you love. And when your eyes open in the morning and you can breathe, have a wonderful, wonderful day. God bless you. Thanks for all the likes and thanks for supporting us all this time. And you know what comes next, squaddies? At Ease with Bob Marley.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Opa.